Hello, y'all, and welcome to the ninth episode of the Anti-Filter Podcast, a podcast for the girls, the gays, the theys, the mentally ill, the disabled, the criminally fucking insane. I am your host, Allison,
And I'm your host, Shannon.
and today we are going to be talking about school, I guess, as like undiagnosed, neurodivergent, autistic, fucking ADHD, disabled ass baddies, and kind of go through our experiences in school. But first, we're going to do the weekly catch up. We're going to do the little weekly catch up, a little weekly rundown, if you will. Um, you have a face, Shannon. I don't know if this is going to be on YouTube because we have been having major fucking issues with this podcast lagging and we haven't been able to upload video versions. So if you're listening to this on Spotify or YouTube or Spotify or or Apple Podcasts, Shannon is making a face right now. Ms. Girl, you look like you've had a hell of a week. I know I messaged you yesterday because you told me you were at a baby shower. I was like, do it. Get the mom drunk. Get the pregnant mom drunk. See what happens.
No, but no facts. Because shout out to her because she and her family have really just. It was obviously very unexpected, but she was one of my rave queens. So she went from rave girly, party girly to boom, I'm a fucking mother bitch. So when you said that, it was just very on brand and it was very funny.
I was like, please don't actually get her drunk, obviously.
But yeah, no, the baby shower was fine. This weekend was fine. It was just this week that's been.
Yeah, you know what the listeners need to know, actually? I saw you out and about. I saw you out and about on your little Instagram story getting oysters with your ex.
I sure was. Haha. If there's one thing about me, if there's one thing about me, bitch, is I will always be this wishy-washy, back and forth bitch. That's one thing about me. But also about me is I will have my mind made up and still be out and about doing dumb shit. And I don't know why. It's just me at this point. We love her. But yeah, no, I mean, me and him are still obviously friends. We don't necessarily hang out all the fucking time, but we are friends. We were friends beforehand, so it's very hard to transition into not being anything. Obviously, that man really did me fucking wrong, but with the same token, I knew he was going to do it because I put him in a position that he didn't want to be put in, and I should have just walked away a long time ago. And so it's a 50-50 fuck up, if you will, because I knew he didn't want a relationship, and I was like, well, I need a relationship. And I was like, I'm going to leave. And when he was like, oh, no, I'll give you what you want. And I was like, bestie, I don't think this is a good idea. I still did it anyways. And so I don't know. I'm still trying to navigate where I want him in my life. But I also worked for that man for the longest time. So when I wasn't a PT yet, I was his content creator for his music, and he taught me a lot of the stuff that I know now. So I use him as a resource for a lot of this shit, to be honest. Actually, that whole dinner we were talking about EDST, which is a management and entertainment company that he works with that does a bunch of marketing, and they've got stuff packages for podcasts and all different shit. And I wanted to pick his brain on some stuff, obviously, because starting Monday, I'm officially fully independent.
Oh,
yeah. And if there's one thing about me, right, I believe in reparations, ho. Okay? You did me wrong. You about to fork it up.
Are you talking about your job?
No, I'm talking about my ex.
Oh, yeah, as you should.
No, reparations. You better help me, ho.
No, because the way that I messaged you and I said, bitch, if you are not getting those oysters paid for, I swear to fucking God, I'll kill you dead. I'll shoot you on sight. Also, Trump got shot at yesterday, but
yeah, I was going to talk about that also. Why do I feel like
fake.
that shit was... You took the words out of my mouth. I was staged. Because hear me out. If someone's going to assassinate someone, you best believe they're not fucking missing. Where's the silencer?
I don't know, but it's giving fake as fuck. And you know what? His statement pissed me the fuck off because the way that this man, what did he say? He was like, I don't want to fuck this up. So I'm going to go on my Instagram story and pull up exactly what he said because I posted it last night because I thought, wow, that's interesting. One sec. Let's
I love
see.
the fact that US politics are basically just like a worldwide reality TV show currently.
No, because what did he say in his fucking statement? Also, I made ceviche last night, and the way in which it was quite possibly the best ceviche I've ever had because I was able to cut everything in the way that I wanted it to be cut. Okay, he said, "It's incredible that such an act can take place in our country." And I said, "Says the man who violently opposes gun control and is silent regarding daily mass shootings in the States. Right to bear arms is only okay when it's not him being shot at."
No, like for real. And if you ask me, I feel like he did that because if we're being honest here, it's gonna go over really well. And like maybe this is something that's just if you don't live here, you wouldn't get. But that's gonna go over really well with our veterans. Don't ask me why, but the fact that he was like shot and then was like, "Ah!" Like the veterans are gonna be like, "Oorah, oorah," and it's like, don't get me wrong, no hate to our veterans. Like you served our country. Like, is it a shit country? Yes, but like you served it, so thank you, I suppose. Because I'm somewhat safe. I don't really know because if you ask me, it's hell out here.
I literally talked to my I was on the phone with my mom. We were talking about Trump and him possibly becoming president again. And then we were talking about wars, and I'm such a dumb bitch. Like, I've tried to like understand this shit, but for the life of me, like, it doesn't matter how many books that I read or like how much research I do. I don't really get wars. Like, I don't really. This might sound really like dumb bitch trademark of me, but like, why the fuck are you fighting over land? I don't get it. Like, why can't we all just? I don't know. I realize that this sounds really, really ill informed and really ignorant of me. Maybe it's the fucking autism, but like I just don't understand it at all. And like, I'm not afraid to sound dumb. It is what it is. But like, I just genuinely don't understand. And it's so funny because also like, the people with the fucking codes with the fucking nuclear fucking the push button people, it's fucking men doing that. And let me tell you, the way in which men are so emotionally charged and they always say like, "Oh my god, women are ruled by their emotions." No, men are. Because do you ever
No,
see when a woman gets angry, she doesn't punch holes in the wall. She just cries like a fucking normal person, bitch.
no, but literally, right? And like, okay, so not for nothing, but I don't even know how many elections it was ago. But when Hillary was running, that bitch had to drop out because of like the fact that she was sending emails from her personal email. Like, not the best thing for private security, but we've all fucking done it. I've accidentally sent clients an email from my personal email before. Regardless, this man has like 40 fucking felonies now.
No, I know. And the way
And
that
he's just
I
like up there, like
no, but
running.
I think that he put people on the bench of the Supreme Court, and he now my mom. So this like this could be very wrong. I don't know. I never checked it out, but my mom, she lives in Ecuador, and she has her all of her friends are from the States, and she was telling me how because he put these people on the bench, he now has fucking immunity for anything. Like he can commit any crime, he can go rape as many women as he wants, he can fucking slaughter people, and it literally doesn't matter. He has like lifetime immunity. That's what I was told.
I don't know if he was necessarily like granted lifetime immunity, but basically because his buddies are in the Supreme Court and all up in
Yeah.
like every judicial branch, yeah, he's basically fucking fine.
Huh.
And like that's the shitty thing, right? Because like I'm not even gonna cut it a stack. Like usually I'm very liberal and usually I'm very left wing, but it also scares me how much like Biden's health has declined. Like I don't know if you watched the tidbits of the debate, but I was like, honestly, making geriatrics sit there and have a presidential debate past 9 p.m. is fucking diabolical.
No, because why the fuck? No, why the fuck do we have dinosaurs running? Like, I literally don't understand. Why are you 90 and trying to run a country? Like, why can't Kamala Harris step up, Miss Girl?
Like that's the other thing. What's crazy about Kamala Harris, right? Is like, don't get me wrong, she's great, love her, woman of color. I think it's wonderful that she's vice president, but she literally passed legislature to like put a bunch of fucking like minuscule drug dealers in prison and like keep them there for like forever. Like her drug policies are so um
Well,
racially motivated, unfortunately.
I don't here's the thing. I don't know much about her. I don't know much about Biden, but what I do know that I think is quite interesting is I think that we are going to see something that is the opposite of what happened in the 90s. So basically, I think Roe v. Wade got introduced in, I think, 1969. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on it. But what ended up happening is there was a major crime spree drop in the early 1990s in the US. And it's because Roe v. Wade got introduced. So all the people that were like, quote unquote, low income, this was like, I was reading an economics book and this was in it. But basically, like, they were trying to assess the reasoning why there was a major drop in the crack trade and in the crime trade. And it was literally because all the people that were low income that were forced to have babies because they got pregnant and didn't have access to birth control were no longer having babies. Those babies that were going to be low income and then therefore introduced to a life of crime were just not being born. So what I think is very interesting is as soon as Roe v. Wade got overturned in some states, I bet in unless it goes back to normal, we're gonna see a fucking crime boom in 20 years.
I will say what's crazy, right, is like so being public health, I took a lot of courses in sociology and criminology and other like sociology kind of like umbrella courses, if you will, because a lot of public health has to do is like with like economic like issues,
Hmm.
right? Like access to care, access to resources, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Hello. So with that being said, I was reading like an economic book essentially in one of those courses that was talking about how abortion is actually like completely more racially motivated than we think. And essentially, right, that most of the people who can get abortions in this country, for the most part, are people with health care, or so people with like full jobs, because that's the only way you can get health care here, or you can spend a shit ton of money a month to get it. I'm not I don't have health insurance through my job. I spend $450 a month for my health care.
What?
Yep. My health care is $450 a month. My car note, I drive a 2020 Toyota, and I bought it new, and my car note is $420.
Well, I'm
My
not
health
surprised
care,
about the car, but well, here's my
but it's
question to
comparison,
you.
right? Like my health care is literally the price of a car note of a brand new car. It's insane, but neither here nor there. Most of the people who get abortions in this country are white women. And originally, right, like originally, the Roe versus Wade was put in to stop white women from getting abortions because they were terrified that whites would become the minority. And I'm sorry, but who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? I don't give a damn. Like, my thing is, at the end of the day, I'm in a very fortunate position where, like, right now, Roe versus Wade is left in the state's hands. So every state is making their own fucking rule.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of rhetoric going around right now in our country that's basically stating that Roe versus Wade allowed abortions past term. That doesn't make sense. That's fucking murder. And all this other bullshit. And Trump is literally going up there and stating this shit. But neither here nor there, I'm in a very fortunate position where, like, if I did need an abortion, I could travel to a state that where it was legal and get it done. I do have health insurance, but the reality of it is you're right. A lot of low income families are going to take a massive hit from this because they can't afford to go to
Yeah.
another country, another state. They don't have health insurance, so they're paying out of pocket. It's absolutely fucking absurd.
Well, fuck.
I know. Like, I'm having a whole existential crisis. I'm not going to lie. Like, I think a lot of Americans at this point are like, oh, fuck it, we ball, because there's literally nothing else we can do. Like, we've tried everything. Like, we've literally tried riots. We've tried to speak up. We've tried to do strikes. Nothing ever fucking works. And the reality of it is too, is like Biden is just as bad because he's currently helping fund the fucking genocide out there. He is currently not like not doing any of what he promised us, right? Like, we're still all paying college debt. We're like literally everything that he said that he was going to do, he's not doing. So it's just really fucking frustrating.
The
And
way that I'm dissociating right now because I'm just like, how do we get world peace?
here's the thing is we don't, like, I think kind of going back to what you said, I don't understand the point of war either. Like, why are we fucking
but
fighting? Like,
but
why?
the Trump said that if he's not president, he's going to start World War III.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, hear me out. Like,
He's
this stuff,
friends with Putin.
Yeah, no, and like, well, Putin also just declared us enemies. Love
What?
it. Yeah, Putin literally just released a statement saying that U.S. is now a formal enemy again.
Uh, okay. I feel like I'm gonna cry. I literally like I was like, well, if World War III happens, I'm just gonna stay in my apartment and I don't know. Okay.
It's like scary, but I'm also like, oh, what the fuck am I gonna do at this point?
No,
Because
there's nothing that we can do.
like that's what it feels like, and like I know, I don't know, I feel like I don't know. I feel like there's so much we can do, but then at the same token, like anything we try, it's like immediately like nope, a nope, a no. It's also scary as fuck. Like I haven't paid my taxes, and as like a form of like I'm making a statement. But like, am I terrified? Yes, because like at any point in time, these hoes could decide to arrest a bitch.
You have not paid your taxes, bitch?
No, fuck them for that. No.
Okay, so here's my thing. That's real, and that's real.
Maybe I shouldn't have admitted that on the podcast. The IRS is watching. My
Yeah,
FBI agent is like,
you allegedly have not paid your taxes.
they're like, check this bitch's taxes.
No, I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, I don't know if this maybe something like this exists in the States, but so here's the thing. When I was working as a graphic designer and I was whatever, like a fucking it wasn't whatever. I bitch, what the fuck is it called? I was a contractor,
Intern?
a general
Oh,
contractor. So I wasn't actually like I was so basically I had to put a bunch of money aside for taxes and I saved like around like 11 grand and I put it aside for taxes and basically girly pop something exists here. I don't know if it's in Canada or just in Ontario. I think it's in all of Canada, but it's called the disability tax credit. And basically, if you get a note signed by your doctor basically saying that you're disabled, it enables you to um, like get a tax credit for up to a certain amount per year. I think this year it's like 9 grand and it's retroactive. So that means that for the past 10 years, if you've been working and paying taxes, you can get up to like 25 grand back. Unfortunately, that only happens if you've been working. So I spent a lot of those years not working and not paying taxes and hopping from job to job and getting fired. So I thought I was under the impression I was getting 25 grand. I did not get 25 grand, but let me tell you, I did not pay taxes last year because I got all the money back, bitch. And I was worried because like people were like, "Oh, are you putting money aside?" And I was like, well, for what? For why? I've made like not enough from coaching, you know." And then they're like, "Well, I gotta learn how to bleep this out, but I've made. Do you want me to tell you how much I've made on passes in 6 weeks?
yes, please, because I'm probably gonna start my page this week.
Yeah, as you should, as you will. I'm gonna calculate this right now. Okay, you're gonna scream.
The other thing too is they should give you like an actual W-2,
I think they do.
so it'll help you have like you don't have to keep track of your own damn numbers.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
In
Big
six
fucking slay,
weeks.
bitch.
In
Big
six
fucking
weeks.
slay.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I've paid
You
my
deserve
rent
that.
for next month.
Good. As you should.
Yeah.
I feel like you fucking deserve that shit because
No, I do.
mm,
And you know what? Honestly, um, yeah, as I do, as I must, as I should, as I will. And the way though that like, you know, I've talked about this before, like sex work is not easy work.
no.
And the days where I've made a lot of money, I'm on my phone talking for 12 hours to people. Like they're long days and it's also hard because, you know, while I'm not fully popping my pussy on the internet, like, you know, passes is there is no nudity allowed. It is a lot of people that are like sexting with you and it just kind of feels you leaving very like mentally depleted and kind of I'm not really it's not my favorite, but also you know what my favorite thing is?
Hmm.
Being able to pay rent. I love that
No.
shit. I woke up and I was like, I got fucking food in my fridge. I'm literally taking my friend out for breakfast this morning. We're going for fucking brunch. Um, and
That's so
then
cute.
she's coming back here. I have fresh fucking ceviche that I made last night in my fridge. And I have fucking steak and oyster mushroom salad sandwiches for dinner. So your girl is her rent is paid, her bills are paid, and we are fucking living it up. And by living it up, I mean hopefully saving enough money to figure out how to live life. I don't know. We should
Oh yeah.
probably, talk about what we're supposed to talk about.
Oh yeah. No. So school, your experience with school. Let's move off the whole existential crisis vibe of our world is falling apart. What the fuck are we gonna do?
Yeah.
To
Uh,
growing up fucked up.
well, okay, so the thing is in the weekly catch up that I wanted to talk about that kind of correlates to the topics is that like I feel weird at my new gym. Like I've been there for a few months. There are some girls there that are like I've kind of like deemed as like the popular girls, and one girl in particular that I've talked to a few times, she used to, I believe, go to my primary school. And she was friends is friends with um this girl, and her mom used to babysit me every day after school. And that family, they were fucking cunt bitches. I will say that. When I was babysat at this place, like the woman who babysat me, her name was Grace. Fuck you, Grace, if you ever see this. You're a cunt bitch. She definitely had favorites. Her kids, like they were raised, they're Italian and they were very touchy. They would like slap you, grab your cheeks, stretch them, like really cunt fucking bitches. And she had favorites, and I remember there was this one girl that she really didn't like, and she was kind of like telling me how I don't know if abuse was the right word, but she was like she would pick on some of the kids. And I remember one time specifically, she made me a peanut butter sandwich, and it was like thick with peanut butter, like thick. And she gave me like a small, like a half glass of milk, and she made me sit there and eat it for like an hour. And I couldn't eat it because my mouth is so fucking dry. But she was like just like weirdly power tripping, kind of like abusive. Like she had like Costco ring pops, and she gave ring pops to every one of the kids except for me and this other kid, Pasquale. And she took a ring pop and she smashed it on the ground, and she gave both me and him a shard of the ring pop. Anyway, so here's what she can suck my fucking dick. Her kids can
Yeah.
suck my fucking dick. Her mom, like, she was fucking abusive. But what I will say is later in life, I did get drunk, put on a superhero costume, go to her house, fucking egg the shit out of it, and put mashed potatoes in her yard. And then the next week, I just so happened randomly to go to the movies with the same friends I did this with who drove the getaway car. And she was at the movie theater. And I'm thinking to myself, bitch, I just egged your house, bitch. Fuck you, bitch. Anyway, fuck you, Grace.
No, because that bitch fully deserved that. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's weird when people are like in charge of kids and they have like strange little power trips.
Yeah, like no, that is
Anyway,
weird.
let's get into your experiences at school. I'll talk about mine, and then I'm going to go find God. And by find God, I mean I'm going to go to brunch and I will get an eggs benedict with a loaded avocado, chipotle mac and cheese, and a blueberry pancake. I
Oh,
will eat gluten, I will shit myself, and life will be good.
I fucking love that for you though.
Thank you, bitch.
Truly. I'm so excited for you. Um, I don't know about you, but being undiagnosed, almost everything growing up was so fucking confusing. I did not understand why everyone it felt like everyone knew what the fuck was going on, and I was like trying to like take notes to figure it out. So I don't know. I feel like growing up undiagnosed with a lot of shit, you get really picked on. Like there's just really no other way to put it. You get bullied like fuck. But
Yep.
then also there's moments where you become the bullier. Like there's moments where you're like also picking on people because it's like
Yep.
you don't know what else to do because that's
Yeah.
all you've been shown. And like there's so many times where like I was such a cunt because I just didn't know what else I like that's all I've been shown. Like I didn't know how to like have friends and shit. But obviously, as we know, my high school and college experience was also very fucking traumatic because people kept dying all the fucking time
Yeah.
while also being extremely BPD and dealing with my own like addiction cycles and suicide ideation and shit. But there were a lot of funny moments as well, a lot of unhinged moments. And I feel
Yeah.
like I talk about my trauma so often that I'd rather talk about like the unhinged moments.
No, let's hear it.
So like one thing that I always ended up in high school and college was like these weird ass fucking trio girl groups. And to this day, I will now believe that trio girl groups will never fucking work. Someone's
No.
always feeling left out.
Yep.
Someone's always the cunt in the group. It's just there's too much shit going on, and it never goes well. But in high school, I also had a similar kind of like bout, if you will, with like drugs and alcohol. Alcohol more specifically. I was trying to stay away from drugs as long as possible. So I was like drunk all of high school, bro. Like I swear to God, just drunk and high. I smoked a lot of weed. And I had a girl like trio group. And it was me, this girl named Tasia, and this girl named Rachel. And we would like basically do the whole like we would all say that we're staying at each other's house and like go out to downtown Raleigh and like party with college kids because for whatever reason back then like it was so easy to like sneak into clubs and bars and like get let in. Like it was not a big fucking deal. Like now they be on that shit. They be scanning your shit. They be like checking your ID with your debit card. But they did not give a fuck. So we were out all the fucking time partying our asses off, bitch. Just doing the most unhinged shit. And then we would come back and sleep in like our friend's car. Just like put all the seats down and like make it a pillow fort. And I'm talking like some nights were like fucking 22 degrees, bitch. Like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? But yeah, I feel like it was a very unhinged time. Like, and I know you relate to that.
Well, I feel like I use drugs to it's weird because okay, so like my primary school experience was, and I don't remember a lot of it to be honest. Um but all my report cards were pretty much the same. Like I excelled an insane amount academically, but I was always interrupting people. I was always very loud. Um but like I was getting like A pluses on every single thing that I did, and I was bullied so severely in primary school. Apparently, allegedly, this girl that I was in primary school with told me that my mom, her mom was friends with my mom, they're both lawyers, told me that I was pulled out of school for 2 weeks. I don't remember that. My mom doesn't remember that, but allegedly, I don't know. I mean, it definitely checks. Like I could see that being a thing. I do not remember it, but I also don't remember any actual instance of being bullied, but I know that I was so severely bullied. Um and what's interesting actually, a very interesting thing that the content creation has brought to me is that one of the girls who I fucking hated until recently, my whole life, like she was on my top 2 list of people that if I had like what's that movie called where you can just do anything for 24 hours?
Uh,
I don't
Unfamiliar.
know. I don't know, but I would like she was on my like top 2 people I would kill for sure.
Yeah.
Danielle. Anyway, basically she reached out to me because I posted a clip from a YouTube where I was like having a breakdown after a gym. This was months ago, and I was saying how like I was severely bullied in school, and she was like, "Hey," she was like, "I just wanted to reach out. I saw your clip on Instagram. Like I know you talk a lot about mental health." She was like, "I don't remember what I did, but I know that I definitely bullied you, and I just wanted to say I'm so sorry." And I was like, "Wow, it was a big fucking healing moment for me." Um but you're right. Like, sometimes you are bullied so severely, you don't really know what to do when you become the bullier. And what I found interesting too was that um, when I was at like my friend Jamie's funeral, his cousin Kelly, because I was like, I don't really remember you in high school. And she said, like, you bullied me. You commented on my weight twice, like one time. And it just like devastated me that I ended up being in a position like that. But I found that like something that I feel frequently that I felt this week at my gym that I just feel all the time, and I felt it constantly in school, which is I think why I really just turned to drugs so much is I find that I leave every single social interaction or perceived social interaction just feeling really confused. Like I say the most unhinged shit. And my friend who's also autistic has described me as the most unmasked person she's ever met. And I've always been very blunt, very honest, and just like say whatever the fuck is on my mind. But it, because I'm like that, like it leads me to say really weird, unhinged shit. And there was a specific thing that the girl at my gym had asked me, and my response kind of just like led me down this rabbit hole of wanting to talk about my experience at school as someone who's undiagnosed autistic and ADHD, because she said to me, she was like, "Oh, like Hope is this weekend. Like, are you going to Hope?" And Hope is like a volleyball tournament that we have in Ottawa. It's once a year, it's in the summer. I've always wanted to go. I've never been invited. I had groups of friends that made teams, but they never fucking invited me. And my answer to her was, who the fuck am I going to go with? And then I walked away and I was like, why the fuck do I say things out loud? Because I think that I say things like that frequently in the hopes of becoming invited. But there's also an interesting balance when you're neurodivergent. A lot of the times your friends will not intentionally leave you out. Like they'll invite you to things, but you don't realize you're being invited. Like they'll be like, oh, me and fucking Amy, whatever, are going to the movies, and you're like, okay, cool, like have fun, like why are you telling me? But that's actually an invite. She wasn't inviting me, in fact, obviously, like, well, that I pretty sure. But it's funny because when I first saw her, it scared me because she was the one who, she doesn't know that I know this, but she definitely was the one who was at St. Thomas More with me. She was friends with Vanessa, who was the one, like Grace is, she went to my fucking school, she went to my primary school, she was friends with the daughter of the woman who babysat me. So anyway, basically, like, school was fucked. I find that I just don't know, like I just find that I leave every single interaction feeling just like, what the fuck did I say? Why did I say that? I'm up until 3 a.m. thinking about it. And I remember like just doing drugs for the first time and my mind just like being quiet and not worrying. And I think someone in high school, or someone once, said like I was popular in high school. I could be wrong. I could be making that up. But I just remember thinking, the fuck are you talking about? Like I literally was never fucking popular. Like I was popular amongst the drug addicts, I guess. But I remember there was this really big shift from primary school because I went, like, my mom and my dad lived in very separate parts of the city. And when I went to a new school, it was called Hopewell. I remember on my first day, it was the most like crazy fucking experience of my life because I went from being severely bullied all of primary school to, on my first day, there was like basically like during lunch hour, we lived in this place called Old Ottawa South. Old Ottawa South and the Glebe are like two very like rich neighborhoods in Ottawa. Um, although I was not rich, but it was a very rich neighborhood. I digress. During lunch hour, the kids were able to just go out for an hour and like do whatever they want. And a lot of people like had money and we'd go, go to Starbucks or Second Cup, or like you'd go buy lunch. And I remember walking to like the chip truck and these two girls following me and they were like, "We're your posse." And I was like, "What the fuck is going on here? Like do I have friends all of a sudden?" It's funny too because for the first couple years while I was there and then also into high school, I wore crazy outfits every day. And I had gone to a Catholic school before that, so like it was uniform. And so the way that I was unleashed, I was definitely dressing for the female gaze. I will tell you that. I, in grade 7 at like 12 or 13, had high heeled patent leather witch boots, and I was going to like secondhand shops buying crazy off the shoulder big pattern print things, like putting fucking red eyeliner in my waterline. Like when I tell you that I had some of the craziest fucking outfits I've ever seen in my life, like it reminds me of some things that I like, some people that I follow on Instagram that I wish I could, part of me wishes I could dress that way now, but I also feel like sometimes I like dressing for the male gaze. I wish that I could dress for the female gaze, but The problem really is that like I just wear a lot of activewear because it's comfortable for me and I get so overstimulated so easily, and some of the outfits that I wish that I could wear, I know that I wouldn't be able to handle that type of fabric. Um but anyway, whatever. Fucking high school comes around and I start doing drugs and I remember just like my mind finally quieted and I was like, this is what I've been searching for my whole fucking life because I'm not worried about fitting in. I couldn't care less. I'm so in my own head and just like experiencing pure fucking bliss and ecstasy because I was on fucking cocaine. And I had this like I guess quote unquote group of friends. It was like I would say probably like, 30 people that I felt, I guess, that I was connected to. And as soon as I got sober, it was such a crazy shift of going from 30 people, I guess, that I felt relatively connected to, and the connections were not really based in reality. It was all just like we have fun, we do drugs, you're funny when you're drunk and high, to having like one or two people that were friends because a lot of people kept me around because I was funny and I did funny shit while I was fucked up. But those people still wanted to get fucked up. And when I, tried to set boundaries or tried to stay away because I couldn't kind of live that life anymore, like they were gone. And none of my friends ever visited me in rehab, which is so fucked up. Like, not in the hospital either. Like, I remember these two twins from my school that I wasn't even friends with came to visit me. But like, none of my quote unquote friends ever came to visit me. I just feel very disconnected, except from like maybe like five people. And they're people that are very low maintenance friends. Most of them are friends that I made when I was in school as like a graphic designer. But I don't know. I just feel so fucking disconnected from everybody almost all of the time. And it's just hard navigating life as someone who's autistic. I'm sorry, I'm picking my head right now. I need to stop doing that. I put nails on earlier this week and it's been great because I haven't been head picking, and sometimes I pick
Yep.
my head so much that it bleeds.
I do the same thing.
And yeah.
I
But
literally do the exact same thing.
well, I saw something too that relates to this that I thought was interesting. And it was the parallels of gifted programs that were basically just like little rooms for neurodivergent people. And when I was in school, like I got amazing grades and I was put into like a test for the gifted program. But the problem is jump rope for heart was happening that day, which was like a skipping rope competition. So I left the test midway through the test. I did not get into the gifted program because I was ADHD and I wanted to go have fun and do something else, but I would have been in the gifted program. My mom's friend always jokes with me. It's really fucking annoying. He always says, "Oh, you were just two brain cells away from being in the gifted program."
Mm. I feel like no, I would agree because I was in a bunch of gifted programs too, but the same thing happened to me. Like I tested for the gifting. I love you, baby, but no, it's not the right time. Sorry, my dog's yelling. Um, I took the test and like failed the math portion because I didn't use my time wisely. So I always got passing grades as well, like super high passing grades. Like in elementary school, we measure with like threes and fours. It was like all fours. In middle school and high school and college, it was like all A's. But all the time, it was like Shannon needs help using time efficiently. Like Shannon needs help staying focused.
Yeah.
Shannon needs help, like, you know what I'm saying? So but same thing happened to me. Like I failed the math portion, and then shortly after that, like maybe seventh grade, eighth grade, I got back in.
I did get a math award and an art award when I
I
was in
love that.
primary school. It's giving got the math autism, but the drugs ruined but you know what, the drugs ruined that for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would.
Like the way that if you were like do an equation, I'd be like sine costan. What the fuck? What does that mean?
No, I would agree. I feel like even my like drug use and alcohol use over the like last couple of, I'll just say like the last decade has truly made me like get out of the like smart autism into the like, I don't know, lately I've been really noticing the age regression in me.
The what?
The age regression.
You feel like
Like,
do you feel like you're getting dumber? Because same.
yes, but I also feel like right as I'm getting older, I'm also like starting to do like childish things. Like I've been like, for example, like maybe this was like 3, 4 years ago. So I was always a stuffed animal girly growing up. Always like
No, I literally
carried stuffed animals till I was like 8 years, 10 years old around the fucking restaurants and stores. I also sucked my thumb till I was 11. Could motherfuckers really please see that I was autistic? I don't know.
stuffed animals.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like I used to like do these certain things when I was a kid that were very autistic, and I've noticed that as I'm getting older, specifically like into my late 20s, I'm like doing the same thing, right? Like maybe 3 years ago, I started with the whole Squishmallow addiction collection, right? Like I've started like noticing traits and behaviors in me that I used to have when I was a kid, and I feel like I've also dedicated like the last 2 years to unmasking. So I like really focused in on like not trying to like constantly overthink and constantly be like, okay, how do I act? What do I do? How do I
Mm,
move? What do I say? And just kind of let shit start moving how it should just
mm,
because it is who I am. And I'm only going to find the right people if I unfucking mask. But like again, like I've just noticed these like I will do these very childlike things that I used to do, whether it's activities, hobbies, collections, behaviors. And it's just very interesting to see. I don't know if it's got anything to do with me starting to unmask and like kind of
do you
allow
think
myself.
I wonder if it's like I wonder if that's kind of like in a realm of inner child healing.
I feel like it has to be like cuz I know that like I started my healing journey right around 23 because I was like I don't know who the fuck I am. And everyone was like, "What do you mean by that?" And I was like, "No, I literally do not know who I am. Like, if you were to tell me what I liked right now, like, I wouldn't know what the fuck to tell you. Like, I don't know." And so I dedicated all this time to like start figuring out like who I am, like what I want, what I need, how I need to communicate, like healing the trauma, all that shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you might be right. Like, just a lot of that has opened the door.
Well, here's the thing, like, so because we're undiagnosed, right? We never got therapy growing up, and I know that I mean, I don't know much about it. All I do know is that there are some forms of therapy for autistic kids where it's like, what the fuck is it called when you're like introducing something? Exposure therapy. It's like exposure
Yeah.
therapy. And there's an autistic creator that I follow, and she was talking about how exposure therapy is not good for kids because it just causes them trauma, like introducing them to sounds. Like, so here's the thing. I remember, in high school, or not in high school, sorry, in college, in business, like I was able to get accommodations, but I never thought of myself as disabled until a couple years ago. But what's interesting is that if we were I wonder if our schools like experiences would have been different if we just had disability accommodations, like simple things. And I don't remember really sounds bugging me so much as a kid. To be fair, I had a lot going on. Like I don't remember much of my childhood, but it was really fucking weird. Like I lived in the most two polar opposite households. Like at my dad's house, I was not able to get anything from the fridge. I was not able to make my own drinks. I was not able to make my own food. All I did was spend time doing extra credit book reports. I was never connected with my dad. And then with my mom, it was like every weekend we were driving to the fucking maximum security penitentiary in fucking Kingston to go visit her murderer boyfriend,
That's
and
wild.
then as I grew up, I started doing drugs with my mom. Like it was, but, I've always connected really well with my mom, and her and I have always been very close. And we've always just had a very good mother daughter relationship. But, there were times where it was hard. But I don't know where the fuck I'm going with this. All I know is like, I think that. what's really good about having an autism diagnosis, and when I say this, in my case, yes, I am diagnosed by a doctor, but what I mean is like being able to know that you're autistic is good, whether it's self diagnosing or you're being diagnosed by a doctor. And I'm grateful for it because it has enabled me to figure out how to live a more peaceful life. Because while I can't necessarily always quiet things happening around me, I can limit my exposure to those things. For instance, like going to the grocery store, I just bring noise canceling headphones with me. In the autism community, we call them ear defenders. I don't like the concept too much, but like I get why it's called that. But I just know that some things are just things that I'm not capable of doing. And if I do them, I need a lot of preparation. I need to figure out the best times to go. I need to look at layouts. Like, if I do go out, I go out to eat, for example, I go to like the same three places always. And if I like, there's, things that I know that I just can't do. And if I can do them, I have to do it with accommodations, like concerts. I'm not going to a concert. If I do go to a concert again, it's going to be VIP, like disability shit, like getting in through the lines, like going where there's no people backstage. Like, I would have to have very big accommodations put into place. Like, I think that it's kind of like accessibility within design. And that's something that I've learned about a bit as a graphic designer, former, I guess, is that if you take time really to, it takes a lot longer, and it takes longer in the beginning and it costs a lot more. But if you put accessibility things in place in the beginning, it's so much easier than trying to put them in later in life, and it ends up being less costly and less time consuming. And unfortunately, this world is not made for disabled people. And I mean that in all forms of disability. I'm talking about like accessibility from a physical disability standpoint, or like mental wise. It literally doesn't matter. The world is not made for disabled people. But if we were able to just access standard standard in my mind, what I think are like standard accessibilities, it would just be life changing for all of us. But unfortunately, a lot of people are not willing to do that, like employers. And it's so shitty because it leaves us having to work in jobs or do things that we don't want to do, that we're not comfortable with doing for money, or we're unable to just work. And it's just so fucking hard because if the simplest accommodations were made, we would be able to thrive. But that's just not the way the world works.
No, I agree. And I think, like, from my standpoint, too, it's like, for a long time I masked, and like, I'm someone who hasn't necessarily been officially diagnosed with autism yet, probably won't ever. Because my therapist is pissing me the fuck off, but that's a whole other story. But I think the reality of it is like, whether you're disabled or not, right? Like, throw that completely out of the token. It should not be a big deal to make accommodations for a group of people. Like, I don't know why. Like, for example, like, so many people get their fucking panties in a twist on your fucking content on Instagram, which at this point, like, you got something to say, bitch, I'm 10 toes down. What the fuck is good? What the fuck is good? Because y'all love to say some shit on her shit, but all of a sudden when I'm in the mix, ooh, boo boo, you scared. Like, take your scary ass on somewhere and stop that shit, because at the end of the day, autism looks different on everyone. Okay? Every autistic person needs different accommodations. If she wants to wear fucking headphones at the fucking grocery store, who the fuck is that hurting? If anything, it's potentially hurting her, because some crusty, dusty man can come up behind her and say or do something to her. So hear me out, because I don't know. That's something that I need to get off my chest for a minute. It's been really pissing me the fuck off. And I really hope that we clip this, or clip the audio or something, and use it on one of your videos, because the reality of it is y'all sit here and talk shit in her fucking comments, but then be in my DMs asking for forgiveness.
Okay, what
So
are you
fuck off
talking
with that
about?
shit.
Please tell me, because here's the thing. I I usually, like, when I upload a video, I try to interact with it for like 10 minutes, but right now I'm having a video go viral that I knew was going to go viral when I recorded it.
Love it.
And I just, like, honestly, I'm not really looking at the comments. Let's see what it's at. I knew it would fucking happen, but it's probably like top 10 most viral videos of mine. It is at 6.8 million. Slay. But
Big slay.
what the fuck are you talking about? Because I know that sometimes you go off with people, but I don't really see much because I try to just, like, disconnect from it as much as I can because it affects the fuck out of me if I don't.
No, yeah. And like, but I just feel like, okay, right. So like, especially in the last couple podcast episodes, there's been some debate in your comments. And I've literally seen it like time and time again. They are so quick to jump down your throat on your opinions or what you said, or specifically a lot like lately on your autism content. Like there's been a lot of like, obviously the R slur. There's been a lot of like, basically like, you're not autistic. How are you autistic? And it blows my mind because it's like I will post very similar content, right? And I necessarily don't always get the same outreach. Or I will get in your comments and be like, bitch, da, 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 da. And then they are in my DMs being like, I'm so sorry. I
Really?
didn't realize. Yes. Yes. There's been one dude since the fucking men's mental health podcast who has been commenting on all my stories. Like, did you see my message? Did you see how I said I was sorry? Like, did you see? And that, like, now is liking my post. And it's like,
What?
I don't know, bitch, but they do this shit to me at work too. It's like there's this one, my boss, my wellness director right now. She will, for example, just told one of our PTs, I need you to get your shit together before Friday. Keep in mind, our wellness director isn't our fucking boss. So she's really shouldn't be saying that to nobody, but she'll never make a comment like that to me. So I don't know what it is, but like lately I've noticed in life that motherfuckers get real buck with like my friends and like the people that I'm like protective over and care about. And then as soon as I'm like, they're like, oh God, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm on my knees. I'm begging. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, what is the fucking point if you can't take the accountability? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know.
I
It
feel
just,
like I would be very scared if you got mad at me, though.
a lot of people do say that. They're like, I'm very intimidating and can be very scary. And I'm like, where? I'm like, but like, granted, like, I will say that. Like, I'll be like, what do you mean? I'm so like squishy and fluffy. And then I'm walking around the gym like, like angry as fuck.
Well, I mean, it's so funny because it's funny that you mentioned that. The reason why is because when I walk around the gym and I have two modes. One is stimming, or no, three. One is stimming. One is like stimming hard, dancing, and just being in my own world. Two is like dead face, and three is masked. And usually when I talk to people, I'm super masked at that gym. But it's so funny to see the transition. And also, bro, as someone who's, autistic ADHD, like RSD is so fucked up, rejection, sensitivity, dysphoria, because it doesn't even have to be anything that, like, actually happens. It can be like a perceived rejection. Like the way in which I tell you, first of all, this is so funny. I literally have a gym crush at my gym. Okay. No, no. After like months, finally found this man on Instagram, got my friend to follow him. Turns out he has a girlfriend. I spent the
Damn.
whole day in mourning playing my fucking playing my fucking sad Spotify playlist. I was so sad, bitch. What did I do later that day though? I put on makeup, I did my hair, I went to the gym and I popped my pussy for that man to see as
Facts.
God intended. But
That
I was talking to his friend, and him and I have talked a few times, and I was talking to him about like authors or whatever. And he left the gym with one of the girls who was also a popular girl. I compliment her all the time. She's the most beautiful angel sweetie baby I've ever seen in my life. I think she hates me. It's fine.
what is it with like having autism and thinking that people who are like socially acceptable hate you? Like I do the
No,
same thing. I'm like, she's so cute. Like she's like
no,
perfect. And I'm
because
like, she
here's
hates
the
me.
thing, okay? There's like four of these girls at my gym. They're the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. Like, the most stunning angel baby, beautiful fucking women I've ever seen. And I compliment them all the time. I feel like they think that I'm weird as shit. They're the most stunning creatures I've ever met. Anyway, this guy walks out with her, and I'm like, oh, hey, whatever the fuck his name is, I forget. I'm like, I was just in my trunk. I happened to see like one of my books that I was talking to him about. I'm like, you want to borrow the book? He's like, okay, sure. So I give it to him and I look at his friend and I'm like, again, girl, I'm like, you're so fucking beautiful. It's criminal.
Yeah.
Criminal. It's so criminal. Then he says, oh my God, that's so sweet. I said, no, babe, wasn't talking to you. I was talking to her. I was like, you're pretty too, obviously, but like we're talking about Miss Girl. And she said, oh my God, me and my friends talk about you all the time. And I said, and I
Oh no, what the fuck did you say, bitch? I already know it was some unhinged.
my response was probably horrible things. Get in my car and drive away. Because why would they not say horrible things about me? Why the fuck? Like, I literally feel like every time I see these girls at my gym, they're the most beautiful women I've literally ever seen in my life. They all have long hair. How?
Yeah.
Their hair is down to their fucking pussies. They're like the most beautiful
Jealous.
angel babies I've ever seen. One's blonde, 6 feet tall, crafted from God. Yeah, long blonde hair.
I'd immediately fold.
Oh God, bitch. Who has a sister? Dark
Folded.
black hair, beautiful. Like, these bitches are sculpted from the gods. They've been putting in work. Their other friend, tiny, ginger, body of a god, beautiful face, like the most sweet angel baby I've ever fucking met. And what's the other one? The other one is also a beautiful, like they're all just so beautiful. And I literally, every time I see them, I always compliment them. And I literally think that they think either I want to fuck them, I don't want to fuck you, or I'm just super weird. Anyway, every time I interact with them, I always just feel like I'm saying the weirdest shit and I always compliment them and I'm like, why the fuck? I literally think about it constantly. I got off the phone with my mom and I was like, oh, we're going back to perceive whatever. The way that I switch at the gym is fucking crazy because I saw this man, gave him a book. The next day I walked past him and he literally pretended like he didn't know me or see me or anything. So that perceived rejection was so intense that I went from hopping around, being happy, listening to music, having fun to I want to fucking die. And I left the gym and I was like, I said to my mom, I'm like, I need to stop interacting with these people because I think that they all think that I'm weird as fuck. I always leave every interaction feeling like absolute shit. And like, it's just so hard being autistic, bitch, because you can be like the kindest, sweetest, most angel baby, like nicest person on the planet, you know, giving compliments out, like masking, whatever. And like, you're still weird as fuck.
I try to remind myself that like people's perception of me isn't my business, right? Like, obviously, like I feel inclined to give someone a compliment. They probably made their day better, right? Like honestly, they probably do go home and they're like, "That bitch is so sweet. Like she's literally fucking such a gem," right? And they have no idea that you're going back home and being like, "Oh my god, they fucking hate me. Oh my god, they think I'm so weird."
Yeah.
But I'll say this to make you feel better, right? Because the whole book situation, I feel like that was out of pocket. I would have perceived that as rejection as well. But there's this guy at our gym named Larry.
Fuck you, Larry.
Yeah, you already know.
You already
Larry
know.
is a huge Trump supporter, and anyways, I haven't had many conversations with Larry. This is like maybe my second month at the gym. One day I get a call. I'm with my ex. We're out and about in town. I think we were at one of his shows. We were like, this was like last year, so we were still like actually together, and healthy. Never healthy, but you get the fuck I'm saying. In a good place. And I get a call from like my client slash like one of the dudes that works the front desk, and he's like, "Hey yo, Shan," and I'm like, "What's good? What's popping?" He's like, "Some dude just left fish for you," and I was like, "What
Left fish?
fish?" So I had like two conversations with this man. He told me that he went like that he boats and like fishes, and I was like, "That's cool. Have a good day." And he brought me two Food Lion bags, so two plastic grocery bags full of fish and shrimp and all kinds of shit that he got from his boat.
We're clipping this.
So I just hope you understand that there are so many weirder things that you could have given him or done, and giving him a book from your trunk that you happen to be talking about is not nearly as bad as it could have been.
Well, I'm just worried because the girl that he walked out with, the sweet angel baby with the black long hair, beautiful
Yeah.
girl, Miss Girl, she's so beautiful. I'm wondering if they're together and maybe she thinks that I was trying to hit on him. He told me he was 5'11", babe. You're 5'9", first of all.
She said, "Excuse me, I am
I
the
called I called him out
unprecedented."
on it and he said, "You really called me out." And I said, "Yes, I did, babe." Anyway, and yesterday or whenever I was at the fucking gym, Friday, he was there, he got there later and he was like in my area and I noticed that she had finished, she was done, she had cardio, she came over to him and they were talking, I guess, but I was already in a fucking mood because I felt rejected. I wasn't like trying to talk to anybody. I just wanted to leave. And as soon as I left, I got in my car and I realized that she had left too. And I was like, is she like literally this is the way my mind works. I was like, did he text her and say, please come over? That fucking weird girl's near me so that she doesn't fucking come talk to me. Or are they together? And she thought I was hitting on him because I gave him the book. So she didn't want me to talk to him. He just got there. I'm still training. Like, and then I was like, I actually had to sit in my car and say to myself, and I do this all the time now, like self-talk, where I literally had to say to myself, Allison, you're safe. You're okay. Everything's fine. These people are blips on your radar. Their perception of you literally doesn't matter. And then I was like, okay, I feel like everybody hates me. And I was like, let's think about this from a logical standpoint. Does everybody hate you? Or are you just surrounded by people that you can't like read their mind? And then I actually had to say to myself, and I realized that this sounds narcissistic or vapid, whatever the fuck, but I was like, there are a good couple hundred people online that don't hate you, that actually really do value you and value your opinion, your content, and like what you put into the world. And I was like, it just doesn't matter, but it feels like it does in those moments. And the RSD is really fucked up. Not me, not me literally becoming a man on this podcast.
No, but
Me
like
going through, not me going through puberty and my voice dropping and me becoming a man.
she said
My test, my test,
RSD.
my test cycle is setting in, bitch. I pinned this morning and now it is happening. My voice has changed.
So dead, bro. But no, I agree. Like, I actually didn't even know that there was a term for that. But I feel that shit all the fucking time. It's
Yeah.
actually like crippling because my partner, right? Like, this has happened to me so many times. Like in
Why
high
the fuck
school.
you say partner?
Why do I say partner? Like, I'm saying like my partners in the past. Like, if I have a
Okay.
partner, right? Like, if so many of
Oh,
my
yeah, okay.
partners,
I thought you were referring to your current ex, and I was
I don't
like, the
know.
fuck?
He's
Okay.
called the ex. But any of my partners in the past, like in high school and college and shit, like they'll basically like my partner will come to me and be like, "Hey, like I know we had these plans, or like plans change," and I'm immediately like,
No, they don't,
"I know they don't,
actually.
bitch. I can't stand when plans change, and if they do change, that's fine. But just let me know and let me know what I need to do and let me know like what's changing, because you get it. But like telling someone who struggles with regulation and like
Oh.
and other shit that like that shit is changing is gonna freak me out. But like, let's say plans change and now I'm not included. Bitch, I'm immediately 10 toes down, squaring up. We fighting now. I'm about to make you so upset that you don't even want to go. I'm about to make you so upset that you come over to my house and we talk about it in person.
Okay, I'm thinking back to like a previous relationship with my ex, Matt, the rapist, TM.
Fuck
Um,
him.
Hi, Matt. If you're
How you doing,
watching,
Matt?
fuck you, bitch.
I hope you're suffering.
I hope you are suffering. And honestly, his mom's name in my phone is Rapist Mom, aka I Love Barn Doors. My fucking contact names in my phone are so
I love
deeply
that though.
unhinged. I honestly need to make like a TikTok series
I was gonna
about it.
say
I
you
feel like
should.
I feel like that's what's gonna get me famous. I was gonna do it and then I just didn't. I don't know what I was talking about. Matt. Oh yeah, well, this man, like we would live together, but I would like need to make plans with him to see him. It was fucking weird. He but I'm thinking about it, and like he would always do that. Like I'm a very plans oriented person, and I either have to have plans way in advance, or that it needs to be on my like thing of I'm making these plans immediately, and if you don't want to do it, then fine, fuck you, bye. But I'm wondering, like, if I think a lot of the time I did feel rejected by him because he was always canceling plans and with me to hang out with his friends, which is fine. It's
Well,
fine.
I will say too, my therapist told me that somebody who cancels plans like that often, knowing that it frustrates you the way that it frustrates someone who's got at the time undiagnosed BPD and autism, is actually a narcissist. That's actually how one of the
Oh,
ways that
he is
my
a narcissist
yeah
because the way that
yeah.
he was like, "Did you know that Matthew means son from God?" Yeah,
Did you
literally
know
this.
that I think you should choke on a bag of dicks?
Did you know that I think you
Like,
should fucking kill yourself? Jump off a fucking bridge?
bitch. I would literally hit him with that. Well, did you know that like the devil like will come to people looking like an angel? So why don't you go ahead and think about that and fuck off, Matt?
I don't know. He's a cunt bitch. I literally saw him
Ew.
last year, I think, while I was driving, and he was wearing a shirt that he had bought for me. And I was like, amazing. I don't know what I would do. Like,
I don't
sometimes
know
I
how you
have,
do that, like living in the same town that you kind of like grew up in and
well,
like
it's fine, but everybody knows everybody. Everybody's fucked everybody. And like, the
you
only
say
thing,
it's fine, but then you say things like that.
well, I think that that happens everywhere you go. But
That's
the
true.
thing is I get really worried that I'm gonna see my most recent ex, which is weird because I'm pretty sure he still lives in Mexico. But like when I first moved back, like there were times where I was like scared to leave my house because I was really worried that I would see him. And the thing is now, right? I'm very online, and it is concerning because, I'll post like if you live in Ottawa and you see me post a photo of the sunset, you know where the fuck I live.
Yeah.
You do because you can see the grocery store that's there, you can see the layout, and like you know where I live. And I just like for the longest time when I moved back, like I used to just like live in fear that I would see him all the fucking time. And I still have that sometimes. Like I still picture him signing up for my gym or like whatever the fuck. And I don't know what the fuck I would do. Like he was an abusive ass bitch. And I was talking to my mom about it yesterday. I was in the car and we were talking, and I was just talking about how one time I thought he was going to fucking kill me, and I hid in a pile of laundry. He was so fucking mad, and he literally screamed at me, and he was like, "Do you think I'm gonna fucking hurt you?" And I was like, "Yeah, babe.
What do you mean?
I don't just
Yes.
dwell amongst the dirty clothes because I just love the smell of your fucking shit stained underwear, bitch. I thought you were gonna fucking kill me, so that's why I'm hiding in a pile of dirty clothes. I'm not just here because I love the
It's
scent.
not funny.
No,
No, it's not funny, but I've been there.
it is kind of funny to a degree, but all I know to be true is that school was hard for
School
the
was terrible.
school was hard, school was terrible. And you know what? Kids are ruthless cunts. I know that I was also a ruthless cunt at times because it's like you said, I think like we just do whatever the fuck we can to fit in.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like I think that's the thing, like with especially and I think that's the other thing is I think if kids were a lot more honest with each other, right? And been like, man, honestly, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know why you don't
Yeah.
like me. I don't know why. Everyone would kind of get just along better, right? Because I think like we have these conversations when we're adults, and it's like, hey, man, like I don't really know why I bullied you. Oh God, that's really fucked that I said that shit. I'm so fucking sorry.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's still bullies or past bullies out there that are like, yeah, those kids fucking deserved it. Like they probably do lay awake
Yeah.
at night, like, damn, I was a fucking cunt to
Yeah.
these people who didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
And so we're all just really trying to figure things out. We all are probably not getting enough love or attention from our fucking parents. We're all trying to heal generational curses. And yeah, a lot of us weren't given a fucking manual on social cues or how to fucking exist normally.
It's yeah. It's just hard. Like I think that I do genuinely believe that the majority of us are doing the best that we can. But it's just it's interesting to think about the fact that if simple accommodations were made for disabled kids growing up, I wonder how different our lives would have been, and I wonder if there's going to be a shift in just making things more accessible for kids who are disabled.
I would hope. I think, like, you made a valid point that our society, as much as they like often say that they're accommodating to like handicap or disabled, they're really not. I think the
No.
reality of it is like you're right. It is very fucking hard. But I've really had to like myself like reevaluate the metric of my success when it comes to like social situations or just my life in general, right? Like I
Mhm.
cannot define my success in a social situation by a normal standard because I am not fucking normal.
Yeah.
So like when I like for example, when I hang out with friends and stuff, I don't like put I don't put rules on myself, right? Like if I want to leave only an hour in, I'm going to fucking leave.
Yeah.
And when I get in my car and I feel so awful for leaving my friends, I'm going to text the group chat and say, "Hey, I had a fucking great time. I love you all. Like let's get together again and do this, this and that." And then I'm going to go home and remind myself that, 2 hours before this, I didn't even want to fucking go. And I went for an hour. That's a success. Good night. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I try to reevaluate the way that I measure, like, or like, hey, yeah, I think I said something weird, but like, I also didn't say, like, I didn't go up to this bitch who I think is like absolutely like stunning and be like, girl, I would die for you. Like, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, I do that.
I do too. I usually say like something along the lines of like, slice me in half, but I'm also not saying like, I'm not going up to some stranger at the gym being like, I would eat your cooter cat for the free price of, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing like the most weird shit. Like, I'm being a
Yeah.
girl's girl and saying like, you're a bad bitch. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? But I'm not going and like touching her or
I
doing
will munch
anything
your
completely
pussy.
out of pocket. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So try to I try to realign my metrics of success on stuff that like my metrics are just going to be different because
Yeah.
what's the point in making myself feel already more awful about shit I can't fucking change?
Well, the thing that's cool too is like obviously neurodivergent people travel like in little packs, right? And I find that the people that I am friends with that I do see, it's great because we all just have the same kind of like social battery. We don't, and there's one friend in particular, I love her. I don't see her very often and we never text. Christy, shout out to you, Miss Girl. I know you're not listening. But I love her. She canceled on me the other day. I was really excited to see her. She's one person that like out of all the people, I love hanging out with her the most. I just really love her. And she is great in the sense that she will place boundaries on the amount of time that we spend together. She'll be like, "Hey, so I'm seeing you at this time. I have something at this time, and I'm going to be with you for this amount of time." And it's great. Or like the people that I'm with, like my friend Mackenzie, who I'm seeing today, she is totally undiagnosed autistic. I think she knows she's autistic. She was placed in an autistic program when she was young, but they determined she wasn't autistic, but also it was very different years ago.
Yeah.
That being said, she is great. And like we both can recognize when the other person just like isn't doing it. Like I remember her and I went for breakfast months ago. And it was the first time that I had put on noise canceling headphones in a public space. And I put them on because she could see I was getting very dysregulated from the noise. And the breakfast place wasn't even that busy. Um, and she got them from her car. She put them on me. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. And I had no money at the time. And I was like, this is so amazing. And she literally came to my house later that day and dropped off a brand new pair of headphones in the box. She said, "My ex got these for me. I bought the same pair because I wanted them, but like I didn't want them from him. So I just had these laying around." She brought them for me later that day. Yeah.
That's so
She is a
sweet.
fucking ride or die bad bitch. I love the fuck out of her. She she just knows too. Like her and I, we've gone to the spa together a couple times. Last time we went, we were the first ones there, but she was getting dysregulated as fuck. I looked at her and I could see it on her face. I was okay with it because I wanted to be relaxed and just be in the spa, but she just couldn't handle it. So I looked at her and I'm like, "You don't want this." And she was like, "No." And I was like, "Then let's leave. It's all
Yeah.
good." Like it's nice to be surrounded by people who are neurodivergent or who are disabled or who are need accommodations or whatever the fuck because they just get it. They're never going to be fucking mad about it. And what's cool, I think, at this age where we know that we're autistic and we're able to like surround ourselves with the right people is like we don't have to feel bad for doing shit like that, for leaving early. And my
Mm.
mom, I don't know if she's like, I think she's undiagnosed autistic. She's definitely ADHD. She's definitely neurodivergent, but like she's constantly putting herself into these positions where she's dysregulated. She doesn't want to be there. And I said to her, babe, you're fucking 70. Stop doing things you don't want to do.
Period. Like, life is way too short.
No, it is. And like that, that's what's cool about 30 is like finding your people, understanding yourself more, and then making accommodations for yourself. The accommodations that you never got as a kid or you never got as an adult. And like being able to like be connected to your inner child, painting, having the fucking squishmallows, like doing things that make you happy, wearing the headphones at grocery stores, going to grocery stores when they're less busy, like simple things like that. And that's what's cool about figuring out that you're fucking autistic, being able to make accommodations for yourself so that you can live a more peaceful fucking life. And on that note, let's
I was
be
gonna
done
say
this.
real quick, I was literally about to say, like, my life got so much better when I started living it from a perspective of like, yes, I've got these disabilities. No,
Yeah.
I'm not normal, but it is okay. And like we can navigate through this. Like, if you feel like you're struggling with shit like that we talk about, like do a little bit of research. Obviously, in this world, you have to be your own advocate, your own like disability lawyer, your own therapist, your
Yeah.
own diagnosis. So just do a little bit of research and like try some of the like techniques that we talk about because you might find that life is a lot more fucking enjoyable.
Yeah. I had a girl reach out to me and she was like, or I posted like a screenshot because, oh, this is Unhinged. I was going to say this on Instagram, but I decided against it because it makes me sound like a predator, but I will say it
Ooh,
anyway.
ooh,
No, so
not the
sometimes,
predator.
no, well, sometimes when I have people in my DM requests, like sending me things, like I'll send them my passes link because I'm trying to fucking make that shmoney.
Yeah.
Anyway, I get a message from this account and it's like, hey, my dad really like my dad lets me watch your content. It makes me feel less alone. And I realized it's a profile of a fucking 12-year-old who plays soccer. And I realized that I had sent him my passes link with a fucking pepper emoji and a link emoji. And I deleted that shit real quick, sent him a message, like a little video. And I was like, hey, whatever his name is, I was like, it's so nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're awesome. I'm proud of you. And then his dad messaged me and I thought it was cute. But I posted that screenshot on my fucking grid. And someone was like, I never really realized I was autistic until I saw your content. And like, it's helped me so much. And I'm just like, fucking slay. Like, there are times where I wish that I didn't know about my autism, but most of it, like, honestly, since figuring out that I'm autistic, I've lived so much more of a peaceful life because I just make accommodations for myself in ways that teachers never fucking did. So,
Yeah.
play to us. And yeah, it's true. Like if you're listening to this and you feel, connected to it and you feel curious, like do your own research because as we always say on this podcast, like self-diagnosis is valid. And no matter what you do, no matter where you go, like if you have an internet presence or not, like it doesn't matter. Like if you're diagnosed or not, because I am diagnosed and people will invalidate your experiences, but what matters is your inner peace and do what you need to do to accommodate yourself and your disability and just do things that you can to live a more peaceful life because because as we know, World War III is coming.
It's coming. It's coming. All the rich people get in fucking bunkers. Bitch, we look, hold up. Cause hold up, real
You
quick.
know what? This is a
If
bunker
look, we gotta make
because
it so we can get a TISM bunker.
no, because you know what? This is kind of a bunker because it is concrete.
Aren't you on like the highest fucking possible floor? Bitch, you are getting knocked down first.
You're
First.
right.
That's what's happening.
You're right, but you know what? And I do live in the country's capital, so if anywhere is going to get bombed, it
It's
will
okay.
be
I live on
Ottawa.
the coast with some of the largest military bases. So I'm also getting fucked from the jump.
Well, and that's on. We're gonna just move through life. I'll bring my headphones to the world's fucking busiest brunch place on
Exactly.
the
Who cares
planet.
about perceived anything when World War III is coming? Wear the
Yeah,
headphones.
yeah. Well, you
Say
know
the
what? I
comment.
will give books to all the men at my gym, and I will just have RSD and It's
Has
gonna
like your trunk like popped open with a sign like free books for men only. Now you really look like a predator.
free books for the boys. A little white man.
I'm so dead, bitch.
All right, we need to end this shit
Yeah,
because
you
you
gotta
know
get ready
what?
for brunch.
I will get ready for brunch, and you know what? I will pop my pussy in the form of. I love this brunch spot. You know what? Shout out to you. Let's plug Chesterfields. We don't need to though because every single time you go there, there's a 2 hour wait. Luckily for me, because they don't let you reserve tables.
That's
You
shitty.
have to go put your name down and then stay there.
Oh
Luckily,
god.
luckily I've got the plug. I've got the plug. Shout out to you, Maddie. I literally messaged him. I'm like, hey, Maddie, it's booking season. Any chance I could book a table for 12 tomorrow? He said, yes. So pumped to see you. Happy booking season. I love this man. Anyway, I will be there in 1.5 hours. It's going to be epic. I'm going to eat so much. I'm going to fucking puke my guts out.
I'm so excited for you.
Thank you, bitch. All right. Well, that was the fucking ninth episode of the Anti Filter podcast. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast, if you could take 20 seconds, hit the three dots at the top, scroll down, leave us a 5-star rating, helps the podcast get out to more goddamn people. If you're listening on YouTube, which you might be because it seems like the video
We
is
might be in the
actually
clear.
it seems like the video is actually in sync with the audio. If you're listening on YouTube, fucking leave a comment, subscribe, like, share. If you hated it, send it to someone you hate in order to spite them. And that's it. We'll see you next week. I don't know what the fuck we're going to talk about, but if you have any ideas, DM us on Instagram. And that's it, bitch. Have a great day. Happy fucking Wednesday. Ho.
Happy Wednesday, bitches. Hump day. Have a good week.
All right. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.